I guess it's time to finally stop anti-potting Tristan Cherry, especially with the projected news. Well, the news that that Tom De Koning is projected to be out with a larynx issue that has popped up over the last 24 hours. So anyway, welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be going through my SuperCoach trades for round 10 of the season. And I just wish for 1 second that I'd actually have a primo score well and be consistent. And it looks awfully like I'm not going to have any, I'm not going to finish my side. It looks awfully like that's the case because primos keep going down. So yeah, that kind of sucks. So unless I get some cheap, basically 1-for-1 swaps of rookies up to primos, it looks increasingly unlikely that I'm going to finish my side. But anyway, before we jump into this video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. If you are listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there. And let's jump into this video. So let's look at the trades here. You will see them for those on YouTube. You will see them below on the bottom of the screen. They're out TDK and Hall, and in comes Cherry and also Al Hawley. A very, very similar trade to what I've done as well on the fantasy, but just slightly different with the rookie in and out. But the main primo swap there, I did look at different ways to get the in Cherry with holding the likes of a De Koning, but it basically meant Caleb Daniel out. And so I could look at that, and I will just quickly show this to you as well. It basically meant a Cherry and like say a Bice or something like that. But it also meant that I was hoping on basically a Henry Huswaite to play. Not Henry Huswaite, a Tom Gross to play or a Clay Hall, both of them basically being in the side and being able to choose which one would play over it. But I just don't expect that to happen. So I could do that. I could easily move that one here and then do, say, a Elijah Hewitt out or something like that. And then move a Petrarca into the forward slot if I was to go a Cherry in, and then do something of this magnitude, I guess, with Al Hawley coming in that way. I could do something like that, which would actually work. But the problem is that if one of these guys, if Gross, Hall, Huswaite, or Camporelli had forward status, this would blindly work perfectly. And then you'd have TDK. Well, I'd have 22 guys, so I'd have still probably a sub score in there. But yeah, that just doesn't work because, the likes of Henry Huswaite got dropped after one game. So that's the reason why I don't want to pull on this type of move here. And also the fact that Caleb Daniel should be at halfback this week for the likes of North Melbourne, with Harry Sheezel projected to play a more mid-forward role. So there's that one. So I've been debating basically between going Huswaite and Hall, and it could change. It could change tonight with teams. If Hall is named alongside Gross, I'm probably going to trade a Huswaite and just hope that one of these two gets a full game. And then that's the way that goes. But we'll see about that. But at the moment, it's projected to be Hall that goes out for me. And then if I just go to players that I can afford here, this should basically give us the likes of Al Hawley in a second here. Al Hawley, and then there's also a potential for me to go to the likes of a Sheldrick. Also, Al Hawley could be sub, which if he is sub, then that would suck. If I've got the Hall though, so yeah, if he is sub, then I would probably. Yeah, that would really suck. But if Sheldrick isn't sub, then I could also go to him as well. He could potentially play, but I don't know if he will get a long-term stint compared to Al Hawley. So yeah, there's a potential that I just have basically very few players actually scoring well. But I have so many loops as well, which should help and negate it to a certain extent. Like I have Carroll that would cover Bice's potential score, but also but there's no one else that can come into the back line that would be unfieldable that would enable that to happen. I wish I had like a Patton at this point instead of a Henderson. A Patton could easily go in there, etc., and it would work a lot better. But yeah, there's basically a loop on with Cleary between Cleary and Hewitt to get the best score there, or a fieldable score at least. And then you've also got El Hawley here, and then Gross would go there. And then that would probably, it sucks that these two both play early in the week, but I'm just hoping that if El Hawley gets a full game, compared to a sub game, then I'd probably play him over Gross anyway, just because that would give me that player, whereas Gross could be a sub, etc., get like 2 minutes and play it and get like a 0, whereas El Hawley could just get like a 60 or 70 score, and be fieldable at that M8 role. But that's sort of what I'm looking at. And then if we look at the VC and captaincies, I think it's pretty obvious areas. I could obviously, there is one sort of change that could be made comparative to the fantasy, and going off script there is the likes of GWS. So against Fremantle, if we go to designated kickers, but then we look at that and we go, where's Fremantle? They are, I've missed them here, they are plus 0.25 in the last 10 games. That is fantasy based, that's not SuperCoach based. So let's actually swap that. So last 10 games for designated kickers for Fremantle are also a plus 2.28. So that's slightly better. So you see Josh Dacos, Dan Houston really did fail. Jack Sinclair really did fail. So if we actually look at this and we go to designated kickers in the last 5 weeks for SuperCoach, I think you'll see that their run has basically turned a little bit sour. So they are a minus 1.44 in the last 5 weeks for SuperCoach designated kickers, with only Trent Rivers really going bananas against them. And you've got guys like Jack Sinclair minus 28, Dan Houston minus 23, Mitch Hinge minus 36. So you've got 3 or 4 guys here that have gone absolute tinsy-wincy scores. Looking at that there. So I'm not going to be going Whitfield, and I am going to be going Cherry into Gawn, which is basically the best 2 matchups possible there. And so, yeah, we have the loop through Boyd as well. But anyway, I think that's about it for this video. A rather short one comparative to the AFL Fantasy video that was released earlier. It really sucks to have to hold Bice with a 102 break even. He doesn't look the greatest, but I'm hoping Sydney have some changes and he looks a little bit better. Obviously, he could be an out, which would cause chaos, but that would mean that we trade him, have a lot of cash left over, play just Carroll on field, etc., or El Hawley on field there. Something of that matter if he is dropped, but I don't expect him to be. We hope that Caleb Daniel can turn it around to 121 break even, but has Richmond, so hopefully he can turn that around. And then we just need more cash gen out of the likes of Levi, who hopefully him and Zach Reed can make their way into the 400Ks, because I kind of need Zach Reed to be a premium. Because yeah, Bice is needed as needs to be upgraded next week, hopefully through Cleary, and Cleary down to Simpson. That would net me potentially somewhere around that sort of 150k to get Bice up, which 150k plus the salary left over 200k, I can basically get him to anyone, which Wangani Malira looks like a decent target if Bice can hold price, etc. So we'll look at potentially that. But yeah, that is pretty much it. Gross and Lindsay still on field here. That really does suck. And I basically have, if we look at this, I can do it this way as well, just to make it look a little bit worse, almost in a way. But if you look at it this way, I have the 6 forwards that I almost want in a way, if Daniel can get back to form. So that means that Hewitt, Cleary, El Hawley, Huswaite, Gross, Lindsay, etc. basically need to combine, and Ashcroft, into 4 midfielders. I basically need 4 midfielders, a flex, and 1 more defender. That's it for the side. And 4 midfielders, guys like Dunkley and stuff like that, will find a way. We'll probably find a way, because you'll have probably Connor Stone get back into the side and other guys get back into the side. And we have the 99k rookies coming up, which will get 70k on guys like this, as well as El Hawley should start to really rake in some cash. But it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight, so we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty sure I'll be close to getting my team done, but it will be tight. I probably need still another million or so of cash generation, which, yeah, that's not the greatest. But if we just do some maths here, if we say that we need to pay about 550k or 560k per Primo, that is Bice, that's 1. Levi Ashcroft, that's another 1, times by 2. Lindsay 3, Gross 4, and Hewitt 5. So I need 5 more Primos at least, which means I need 2.8 million for them. You take off Bice's 375, you take off Levi Ashcroft's 381, you take off Lindsay's 276, you take off Gross's 170, you take off Hewitt's 287, and that leaves me needing another 1.311 million from basically bench guys. If you take the 140k off Cleary down to Simpson, that means it's 1.171 million needed. And that is basically out of cash generation from Ashcroft, Lindsay, Gross, El Hooley, potentially Huswaite again, Carroll as well. And these guys, obviously, it's not directly 1.171 because we took the Cleary money away at the moment of what he's standing at. We obviously, these guys of Hewitt, Cleary, Gross, Lindsay, Ashcroft, and potentially Bice could all go up in cash still more. That could potentially rake in another 100 to 120k of cash generation just there. So that means that it's down to about 1 million needed left over. El Hooley has already got 40k, Huswaite 50k, and Carroll 70k. So that's already 9160k as well. So that probably leaves us with about needing 900k further of cash gen at the current moment of players. When you whittle them down, take another 80k from Stone, and it's probably about 800k. Realistically, maybe you take 50k from Henderson. So that's 750k from potentially these guys, plus also the guys that you're trading them out of. So you're trading Cleary to Simpson and you're hoping for more cash in. So I need about 800k to finish off the side, unless I can start getting some bargains and saving 30, 20, 40k here and there elsewhere and stuff like that. So it is tight. And that's what I was saying this whole time, is that there's a massive potential that I don't finish my side, as it's been a horror year. But anyway, that is the video there, going through my SuperCoach side, as well as just doing some general sort of math with it to show that it's going to be hard to finish, but I'm hoping that I will. But anyway, if you guys did enjoy, I hope you, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for my tips video. I'll post on Twitter my initial tip for the first game between Gold Coast and Hawthorn. I'd hazard to guess it's probably Gold Coast by somewhere around that 15 or 16 marker, but I will post that and a screenshot of that on Twitter tonight as well. But anyway, I'll see you guys in the tips video alongside the game review videos tomorrow. Bye, guys.